Nerazzurri fans from all over the world, welcome to the Interglow for Inter-Juventus 0-1. I title a blank bullet. Why? Because I honestly think that we didn't play bad yesterday. We made our game, we approached it correctly. We just don't have the forward players that can convert our domination into goals. Usually Lautaro plays very well, but yesterday, as we will see, it was not the case. So it was sort of a blank bullet. We have a weapon in our hands because we have a good team that can play well, but the gun is loaded because of tiredness, because of injuries, because of the circumstances. It was kind of loaded with a blank bullet. Let's have a look at the game from up close, because there are also some things that we have to talk about which are really unpleasant under the referee's standpoints. So we started off well. We were keeping the ball in our possession most of the time. We were playing in their midfield, and so I was hopeful. But then we had this play all of a sudden, sort of a counter-attack, in which Juventus scored. And apart from the handball that we will talk about now, Denzel Dumfries, A-Train Denzel Dumfries, did something that I haven't seen even when kids play on Sunday morning here in the park. Basically, he left his man. As you remember, Kostic-Dumfries was one of the duels that I was evoking in the pre-match, and I was jokingly saying that Kostic is kind of the opposite of Dumfries because he's precise, he's technical, he's fast. And Kostic won this duel, but what's not possible to explain is how Dumfries just leaves his man that he has to mark and goes and takes basically Onana's place 5 meters away from Kostic when he shoots. Darmian tried to close, but this was like the most irrational, stupid type of positioning that I've seen in years. And 5 minutes after the goal, same play, Kostic has the ball and Dumfries, we don't know where he is. Kostic is again totally free. So, despite a couple of nice tackles in which he was able to take the ball from Kostic, this play was really appalling. And of course, there was also a handball from Rabiot and Vlahovic in that play. 4 minutes they took. 4 minutes. Our friends Chiffi and Mazzoleni and Piccinini in VAR, 4 minutes not to see a double handball and to give and to grant the goal to Juventus. So yesterday, considering that we basically played without Lautaro and without Dumfries because they totally performed badly, and considering these three bandits, Juventus was playing 14 against 9. So as you can imagine, it's not easy to win. Anyway, after the goal, we had a couple of minutes, maybe 5, in which we suffered the psychological consequences of this, and then we started playing again, but in a very sterile way. Even in the second half, we didn't manage to create dangers. The only danger we created was in the first half, before the goal, with that beautiful give and go between Barella and Lukaku and the shot by Barella, but that's it. That was a gigantic opportunity that we missed, but that was all. So we really were not dangerous and effective yesterday. We tried to tie. We had a great ball possession, but in the end we just couldn't shoot on goal in a dangerous way. Let's go to the players. Tiramolla Onana, he suffered only 2 goals in the last 8 games. Yesterday was very good in general in handling the pressure, and he had a fantastic play in which he deviated with his hands across that would have been really tough otherwise to contain. And in general, very solid and secure, and a goalie you can trust. So it's a 7 for Tiramolla Onana. 7. Darmian 6+. He was good in general, not exceptional, not bad, usual solid performance. 6+. De Vrij is a 6. At least he didn't do damages yesterday. He didn't create any damage, which is already a big plus for him lately. So I'll give him a 6. Acerbi 6.5. He was, unlike De Vrij and Darmian, he was good in defense, but also very good forward in, proposing himself, trying to go and cross or to create a give and go situation. So I really appreciated Acerbi, and of course Vlahovic, who we never saw him yesterday. So Acerbi is a 6.5. A-Train Dumfries is a 5+. 5 plus, because he started even well with Kostic, but then he made this incredible mistake that not even a 5 years old kid makes, which is abandoning your man and even obstructing the view of your goalkeeper on a shot. I mean, how lame is that? So that already by itself it's worth a 4. But I want to be nice to you, Denzel, because despite the same mistake repeated after the goal, staying 5 meters away from Kostic, in the end you made a couple of nice crosses, even a dribbling. It was kind of a random dribbling, but at least you did it and you crossed pretty well. You also made a nice assist with your head, but this brings your grade from a 4.5 to a 5 plus, not more than this. Barella 6.5. He did have some things that I hated yesterday. For example, he took a yellow card for protesting, and if I were Inter, I would fine him, because it's just not acceptable anymore from a player who's playing his 4th season in Inter. You can't be like a little kid after 4 years. You can't be a player that didn't learn from your mistakes. So that's really bad. Also, Rabiot on the play of the goal was basically advancing alone. Where were you, Barella, on that play? And when you were substituted, you even had the courage to protest. So these 3 things bring down your grade. It would have been a 7, but it's a 6.5. You had a nice shot from just outside the penalty area, a wonderful give and go 1-2 with Lukaku that you concluded with a nice hard but central shot. And you also, in the second half, recuperated the ball almost on the goal line of Onana. So that was a really precious intervention. And you also made a couple of nice crosses. You gave a nice ball to Çalhanoğlu for a counter-attack. So you did play well. You would have been a 7, but because of the episodes I quoted, then your grade is 6.5. Tubeman Brozovic, 5 plus. I just don't recognize him anymore. He's kind of out of the game. You can see that he stopped being the soul of this team. He's just one of the participants, but he's struggling to find himself, to get back to what he used to be. And he also makes wrong choices, really wrong choices. Like in the second half, at one point we were close to the penalty area, 2 men on the left and nobody on the right. He gives the ball to the right, and Juventus, of course, takes it. So that was awful. You had a nice shot in the beginning of the second half, and nothing more than this, I have to say. So all in all, your grade is a 5 plus, and I'm starting to worry because it's been already a month that you're back, but you're not back as the Tubeman Brozovic we used to know. Sultan of Swing, Chala, also is a 5.5 yesterday. Yes, he did a couple of nice ball recuperations and a wonderful assist for Lukaku, the one that then started the 1-2 with Barella that brought us to shoot, but he was confused yesterday, less solid, less of a rock than usual. Loses balls in attack, very bad control on a wonderful, precious ball given by Barella in the penalty area, and then the ball was taken by Juventus. Even corner kicks and free kicks in which he usually excels yesterday were not carried out properly, so it's a 5.5 for Sultan of Swing. Drone delivery Di Marco, 6.5, despite coming from an injury and despite leaving the pitch for another injury. He was good, he ran a lot, you could see that. He even had a nice shot with his volley with the left foot in the beginning of the second half, and a great cross that was kind of cutting the area, and unfortunately nobody was there to tap it in. So it's a 6.5 for drone delivery. Lauti, 5 minus. Just very present mentally. You can see that he wants to do things, that he wants to be tough, but this doesn't translate in a decent performance. It was really awful to see you play yesterday, Lauti, out of the game completely. As the whole team, you also swing a lot, as we know. Sometimes you score for 5 games in a row, then you don't score for 5 games. Let's hope that you will not score now, but you will score in April when we will need you. Lukaku, 6 minus, just as an encouragement on my side. He would have been also a 5.5 probably, but he was good at least in keeping the ball when we were forward. That 1-2 that I already mentioned twice with Barella, a nice header at one point. He was very good in keeping the ball, letting the team come forward and distributing it around. But I noticed on the only Dumfries good play when he crossed the ball very low that both him and Lauti went on the second post instead of distributing themselves, one on the first and one on the second, and that was really a bad choice that could have been a goal. But all in all, you know, it's a 6- because at least he gave sign of being present, of helping the team, unlike Lauti. Let's come to the substitutions. D'Ambrosio 6+. Very good on Chiesa, and you know, as always, on duty and precise in what he needs to do. Then you had the fight with Paredes, but who can blame him? I mean, not fighting with these Juventus players because of what they do, because of how they steal, is really not easy. So D'Ambro is a 6+. Mkhitaryan 6. Great ball recuperated in the middle of the penalty area before Juventus was about to shoot. Just before that, so that was really important, almost like a scored goal. But then, you know, he lost a couple of bloody balls and gave the chance to Juventus to score with counterattacks. He had the chance to shoot on goal from a good position, but he just didn't do it precisely. He had, although he had a nice shot in the end, and this is why, all in all, with ups and downs, I give him a 6. Dzeko 5, you know, I just have in my eyes that ball that he put with sort of a lob inside the area, basically giving it to the goalkeeper of Juventus. So it was really not a performance that left a sign in yesterday's game. And it's been lately always like this, because he's just kind of out of shape or tired, or I don't know, but he's not at his best. Bellanova 6. He did more in 7 minutes than Dumfries in the whole game. First ball, bam, 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 he dribbles a couple of players and crosses. Then, of course, he also lost some balls, but I love the personality. Inter-Juventus losing 1-0 in front of 70,000 people who booed you before, so thank you, Bellanova. I appreciated yesterday's effort and the courage. Correa, no grade because he played too little. Inzaghi 6. The formation and the starting lineup, I think, was quite good. Maybe he could have left Lukaku on the pitch instead of substituting him, but this is not a gigantic mistake. And honestly, it was not easy to maintain concentration, as we said, with the hocus pocus after this Champions League draw. You know, our minds were kind of taken by this, and I bet it wasn't easy to concentrate on the game. But we played a good game. It would have been a tie, which would have been the right result. But unfortunately, as we know, Juventus doesn't play with 11 players and hasn't been playing with 11 players for decades. So, you know, they take away on one hand 15 points from them, but then they give them back with the referees. Last game they gave 2 points to Juventus for free because there was another goal scored by Rabiot with a hand. This game is another couple of points. So little by little they will give back, robbing here and there those 15 points. Anyway, that's life, unfortunately. That's our country. Thank you so much for watching. That's all. If you enjoyed the video, please punch the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. It's very important for me. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, Forza Magica Inter!